Welcome to the 7th annual Wednesday Golf Group Christmas Party. New additions, we have Doug Nuracker, Tom Seeley, Charles Caswell, and Father Consani. Now, I don't know how much Father's going to be able to play with us because he has a busy Wednesday schedule, but it certainly has added to the flavor of the group.
We'll work it out.
We'll work it out. So we've got doctors, we've got a priest. I don't think we need an attorney.
How about a broker?
Well, we got brokers.
Do we need a broker?
Golf groups, it's definitely a unique group. The uniqueness is the respect that everybody shows for each other. It isn't about golf, it's about the people. And because of that, before a golfer brings somebody into the group, they give it tremendous thought as to how that individual will fit into the group. One exception.
Did you hear your name? Me? No, wait a minute. Let me take over. You need a doctor. You having chest pain?
Well, in the famous words of Max Sala, oh, we'll skip that one. We'll skip that one. Well, because of that, the Wednesday group hasn't lost its personality, and the character of the group remains the same. So in spite of the fact that we've got a group of around 30 that play golf, it feels the same as that 8 guys that I started with 9 years ago. And that brings us to the glue of the group, Jim Beebe. If it's Wednesday, I play golf. But if it's Thursday, Jim starts planning for next Wednesday's golf. Where to play, how much will we pay, how many strokes do we get, who do we play with, all done by Jim. Just answer an email and the rest is done by Jim. The original email, of course, came from Jim. Oh, if you change your mind, you can play or you can't play, no problem. Just tell Jim. And then we find out how much data he keeps on us about our golf game. Turns out he keeps the weekly results. He knows how much our average round cost, who we played with, and who we don't play with so that the same people don't play over and over. And that we don't play the same course over and over. And that we don't pay too much. And much, much more. Personally, I have trouble remembering where we played last week. The quality of leadership is do what others can't or won't do. Definitely that's Jim. I don't know anybody else in this room that wants his job taking care of this group. We call him our leader. Maybe a title of captain, commodore, or director might be more appropriate. My personal choice would be exhausted ruler. However, leader seems to fit best, and we want to show a small token of our appreciation. So Jill, if you'd come up here. Oh, that's what the golf tee was. Somewhere it is.
The golf tee? No, that was not it.
I thought that was the
You know, I do this for the fun of it. And it's the only way you guys would hang out with me.
His mother used to tell him to go play in the street.
Yeah.
So Jim, thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Love all of y'all. All of you. I enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Do we have a picture of the knickers?
Not ticking.
It's not ticking. You have to say when I asked for it, what the idea is.
Yeah.
The one idea was something for his wife. We rejected that one. And so I went to his son-in-law, who I figured knew him second best, and he came up with, I think, a pretty good idea.
Bowling ball.
Is it amazing? What is it?
Thank you.
What is it?
It's a Garmin Approach.
Oh!
Thank you very much.
You'll love that.
Love it. Thank you.
Is that going to improve his game?
This what?
Your game. Is that going to improve his game?
Yeah, oh yes. Thank you.
Father Kinsani is a professional entertainer, and he has been entertaining people for how many years? 50 years, roughly.
So you're not nervous?
He recently entertained, just to give you an example of how professional he is, he recently entertained a group of retired Red Wings and Detroit Tiger baseball players. So cool. Yes. Yes. Father Kinsani?
I thought you were going to use that introduction I did, you know?
Well, I could do that.
Remember?
Yeah, I think I got it.
Okay.
Well, I would like to introduce the Kalamazoo Quartet. The three of them are thrilled to be here. Both of them are excited about it. And here he is.
Oh, I am we come out to the highlight of the evening. It's the highlight of my evening, not yours. I'm just delighted to be here with all the wonderful people and beautiful ladies. And I'm Father Kinsani, 84, single. That's not funny. But I'm delighted to be here. I'm not surprised because I expected to be invited sometime December, January, because the last time I played golf with you guys, I heard several guys say, it'll be a cold day when we have him on the program. December, January, something like that. But when Denny, by the way, I go a long ways back with Denny and Susan, and I remember when they were Ken and Barbie. Handsome couple, beautiful couple. But I played a lot of golf with Denny, and he's such a wonderful player, right?
Yeah.
And but he has a certain style. I call it deliberate. Deliberate. Denny, for God's sake, hit the ball. Well, anyway, I guess when Denny invited me to be on the program, I guess he'd heard me somewhere before because he specifically mentioned the guitar. I brought it anyway. It's what I do. Well, you see, I found out early in my career that a lot of clever after-dinner speakers were learning how to play the guitar. Because if you're up here giving your talk and you look around and you're not going over too well, you can always play a little song. Well, my first little song I like to play. John Denver. Love John Denver stuff. We start off with a little song called Back Home Again. Remember that one? Well, John Denver, of course, you know, back in the 60s he was composing a lot of beautiful songs, you know. And of course, he was killed in an experimental aircraft. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's not composing anymore. In fact, you might say he's decomposing. John Denver. Now, John Denver, not everybody knows this, but when John Denver plays the guitar, have you ever seen him in concert on television? Yeah. He never uses those three fingers. Those are mine. Little jokes. remembered. Back home again. Remember that song? Hey, it's good to be back. Okay. Now, when we get to the chorus, if you'd like to join in, I wish you wouldn't. It's my guitar, my fault. Right. My fault. No, we're gonna do a little sing-along there, right? Speaking of sing-alongs, I did Jets in Prison many years ago. And this was fun, because had all these prisoners there, and I for sing-alongs, I said, okay, murderers take first chorus, arson takes second. It was fun. There's a storm across the valley, and the clouds are rolling. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. At these prices, you don't get Barry Manilow, And there's a truck out on the 4-lane, many miles away. The whining of its wheel just makes it colder. And he's an hour away from writing on your prayers up in the sky. 10 days on the road are barely gone. And there's a fire softly burning, supper's on the stove, but it's the light in your eyes that makes me warm. Here we go. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Sometimes this old place feels like a long-lost friend. And hey, it's good to be back home again. You got it. Well, there's all the news to tell him how you spent your time. What's the latest thing the neighbors say? And your mother called last Friday. Sunshine made her cry. She felt the baby move just yesterday. You're not even pregnant, I don't understand. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Oh, bravos. Sometimes this old place feels like a long-lost friend. Hey, it's good to be back home again. My favorite part coming up. It's the sweetest thing I know of, just being here with you, it really is. It's the little things that makes this place a home. Lots of smiling faces, filled with loving hearts, but it's the light in your eyes that makes me warm. Last time around, hey, it's good to be back home again. Sometimes this old place feels like a long-lost friend. And hey, it's good to be back home again. Oh yes, and hey, it's good to be back here again. Wonderful. Minnesota a few years back when I was wintering in Florida, and I was invited to do a program for the National Polish American Society there, and big crowd, and I thought, gee, this is going to be really neat. I'm going to go to the library, music library, and find a really old ethnic Polish Christmas carol, So I went there, and sure enough, I found this beautiful old ethnic Christmas carol, Polish. It's called Dashin. My Polish isn't very good, but it goes a little bit like this. Dashin, 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 Dashin through the snow. O'er the fields below, dashing all the way. Being Catholic priest, it's interesting, and I do programs here and there, and I did one at the nursing home here locally a few weeks ago, and there was a little couple in their wheelchairs in the front row, and so I come out and she said, "Harry, what's that he got around his neck?" He said, "Don't ask me, I'm not Catholic," It's a Catholic thing. The Catholic, several things have happened in the Catholic Church about the Vatican Council back in the 1960s, and he changed a lot of things in the church, particularly the languages, right? And we have everything now like in English, and a lot of people had trouble with that, but it was nice for me because I used to have to do this whole program in Latin. Wasn't invited anywhere. But it used to sound something like this. Vigilante non contrahite, amante di cold. Santa Claus venitado pido. Script tabulum and videt bis, apprehendi qui bodio molli. Santa Claus venitado pido. Cognoscit dormitates, cognoscit suscitates, cognoscit bodia molli sunt est bona causa bonitates. Contrarite, non volante, di comes. Santa Claus venitad opidum. And I hadn't done this for a long time, but years ago, we used to try to do one of those Latin numbers backwards. And I don't remember if, John, give it a try? Okay. That's silly, but that's what I do. I do silly. Some things that every company, every organization, they all have ladies' nights and annual parties, one kind or another, and so they're looking for entertainment. What you often see, I'm sure many of you have been involved in this, is a very popular thing is a slideshow. You see, people go on trips and they bring these beautiful pictures, like Mark McCormick has beautiful pictures, and so do you have a slideshow thing? No?
Sure.
Okay, good. We got to see your slideshow sometime, right?
Yeah, I gotta get from the car.
Okay. You got my suit coat over there? I don't need a suit coat. I just need. Yes, I hadn't planned this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I decided, because it is such a special occasion, that I would debut my slideshow. Not seen anywhere before. I'm going to debut my slideshow, okay? Well, my first slide. I'm saving up for the projector. Okay. This one, okay, this is wonderful color. This is Jim Stone. He's skinny dipping in the Kalamazoo River. Wow. Great color, but definitely overexposed. Okay. Dorothy Gunther said, you've heard of kleptomaniacs? Poor Dorothy is a maniac klepto. and this shows her, it looks like she's coming out of Myers with a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, she's backing into Myers and leaving it there. That's what she does. It's just the opposite. She backs into stores and leaves things. Let's see, the wonderful Dr. Tom Burkhardt. Now, I'm sure that you've delivered a lot of babies cesarean, probably, I know. Anyway, but...
No, he's a pathologist, father.
Okay, well, he's a doctor, right? Don't they do that?
You can ask him that.
Okay. But see, what most people don't know is that he is a cesarean baby himself. You didn't know that, did you? Because you can tell. See, this shows him leaving the hospital. Because when he leaves the hospital, he goes out the window. He was a cesarean baby. Can't help himself. Okay, needs a little work. Okay. Oh, this is one of my favorites. This is Denny Better jogging on Moore's Golf Course. Looking good, trotting right along. Of course, Susan had Denny take up jogging so she could hear heavy breathing again. Oh my gosh. Okay, television is such a wonderful thing, wonderful, so many great shows, but there's some stuff on television now, more so today than ever. A lot of diabolical, satanic stuff, you notice that? And like they'll show, and it bothers people, see, and they'll show a movie like The Exorcist. You ever see that movie? A little girl was possessed by the devil and they bring in the priest for exorcisms, you know. So when they show movies like that, we get phone calls that go like this. St. Monica Parish, Father Pinzani speaking. Yes, we do exorcism. First Saturday of the month. You can't wait that long. Okay, what seems to be the problem? You think your wife is possessed. What does she do? Runs around the house yelling and screaming. Hair stands straight out. Face turned beet red. Wow. Has she tried a larger size pantyhose? Didn't work. Yeah, well that's pretty serious. I'll be over tonight. Not tonight. It's her bowling night. Tomorrow night, no, that's my bowling night. Maybe we could do this by the phone, okay? Yeah. Do you have a Bible? A Bible. You know, the complete bowler's guide is good, but not for How much do I charge for exorcism? Well, listen, I have to charge by the pound, okay? Well, if you saw the movie, you got to get the person floating up over the bed, and you know, geez, the heavier they are, the harder it is to do. I charge by the pound, okay? Yeah. How much does your wife weigh? Well, how much does she weigh without the bowling ball? You've never seen her without the bowling ball. Must have had a wonderful honeymoon. Yeah, average 157. Okay, listen, I can't handle this one, okay? Yeah. You're going to have to call Holiday Lanes. You know, most everybody knows, I say most, this isn't really funny, but it was funny at the time. I went to buy a car, and I went to this dealership, and this guy's showing me this van, you know. He's saying, yeah, Father, it says a lot of room for the wife and the kids. And I said, I don't have any wife or kids. He said, you don't? And I said, Catholic priests don't get married. He said, they don't. I couldn't believe that, but that's true. But most y'all know that, right? You know that, right? Yeah. So, and because of that, see, everybody thinks that we don't know anything at all about girls. Well, it's true. No, actually, I had an old girlfriend once, years ago. Her name was Elsie Crunch. Elsie was a Amish girl. I drove her buggy. She was not a pretty girl. There was something funny about her eyes. Two were green, the other one was red. When I first met Elsie, she was like 23 years old. She was completely gray. Except her hair, and that was black. She's kind of a poor girl. She worked for her father, who was a blacksmith. Elsie used to hand in the horses. Yeah, the other girl had nice things. Elsie had nothing nice. The other girls were wearing nylon stockings. Elsie was wearing old salami casings. But I never forget, you know, well, this is so funny. There was this ad in this magazine about Max Factor makeup, you know, back in the 60s, and it says Ava Gardner wears Max Factor makeup. Remember? Gorgeous movie actress. Yeah. And it said, you know, Ava Gardner, and it said, there was Max Factor rouge and Max Factor face powder, Max Factor mascara, Max Factor eyebrow pencil, Max Factor eyeshadow, and this whole Max Factor. So I sent her this big, beautiful Max Factor makeup kit for her birthday. And I got her to pick it up, take to a dance, and she was wearing Max Factor makeup all over the place. I mean, she had Max Factor rouge and Max Factor face powder, Max Factor mascara, Max Factor eyebrow. It was so disappointing because she didn't look a bit like Ava Gardner. She looked a lot like Max Factor. But, you know, oh gosh, you know. When you got the place for the dance, you know, there was a place like to check the hats and the coats and the wraps, you know. And I tried to check this like fur piece, you know, to know what's growing there. But she loved music, and well, you could look at it, and see she loved music. You know, her measurements: 78, 45, and 33 and a third. But she loved to write songs, and her big hit in 1967, of course, was "Show Me a Milkman with High Heels, I'll Show You a Dairy Queen." Then there was Reuben James. Reuben James. In my song you live again. In the phrases that I rhyme, we'll take your footsteps out of time. Since the time that I first knew you, Reuben James. Reuben James. You still walk the broad fields of my mind. The faded shirt, weathered brow, colored hand upon the plow. I love you then, I love you now, Reuben James. Reuben James. One dark cloudy day they brought you from the field. Till your lonely pine box came, just a preacher in the rain. Just to sing one last refrain for Reuben James. Reuben James. You still walk the furrowed fields of my mind. The faded shirt, the weathered brow, the colored hand upon the plow. I love you then and I love you now, all Reuben James. One of the big things in the world of religion is called the ecumenical movement. Some of you are familiar with that? Yeah. Where all the Christians get together with the Catholics. and there's more than just the Christians. In Lansing, there was a wonderful rabbi, Rabbi Frankel. And we used to go to these meetings together, and he is a wonderful man. He said to me one time, he said, "Father," he said, "you guys have this wild celibacy and everything, you can't get married." He said, well, first I said to him, you know, you can only eat certain things. You can't eat meat, you can't eat pig, you can't eat that, the other. And I said, "You ever had any ham?" And he said, yeah, a couple of times. He said, well, Father, you can't go out with a girl. You ever got out with a girl? I said, yeah, a couple of times. He said, better than ham, eh? He got a new car. And so one day I was looking, I went over there and he was looking out of his window, and I had the flowing cope on and a big holy water bucket, and I baptized the rabbi's car, you know. So about 2 weeks later, I got a new car. I looked out of my window there, it's my garage. A little tam, little hacksaw. Cut 3 inches off my tailpipe. Anyway, at these meetings, sometimes they'd ask me to bring the guitar along to a song or two. Other times they ask me not to bring the guitar along. But anyway, I just play a little song for them. I'd like to play and finish with you tonight. I saw Adam leave the garden with an apple in his hand, and I said, now you're out, what are you going to do? He said, plant some crops and pray for rain, maybe raise a little cane. We're all brothers and we're only passing through, passing through, passing through. Sometimes happy and sometimes blue, but you're glad that I ran into you. We're all brothers and we're all passing through. I shivered one night with Washington at a place called Valley Forge. Why do the soldiers freeze the way they do? He said men will suffer, men will fight, men will die for what is right, even though they're known they're only passing through, passing through, passing through. Sometimes happy and sometimes blue, glad that I ran into you. We're all brothers and we're only passing through. I was at Franklin Roosevelt's side. It was just the night before he died. He said one world must come out of World War II. Yes, Yankee, Russian, white or tan, Lord, a man, just a man. And we're all brothers and we're only passing through, passing through, passing through. Sometimes happy and sometimes blue, glad that I ran into you. We're all brothers and we're only passing through. I saw Jesus on the cross, on that hill called Calvary. You hate mankind for what they've done to you. He said, we'll learn to suffer, learn to love, things to do. It's getting late. We're all brothers and we're only passing through, passing through, passing through. Sometimes happy, sometimes blue, glad that I ran into you. We're all brothers and sisters, and we're only passing through. I'm glad I was passing through.
That little round robin thing that most of you are familiar with. I think if you go right down the middle here, this side of the table are girls' gifts. This side of the table are guys' gifts.
Save the paper.
Tea collection.
Tea collection.
Like vase things
Number
that you put candles in.
9.
Barbie's
Haley's. That was quick. So I have to go back
You have to go back.
Or steal.
eliminated.
No, she has to have 2 cards.
This one's sharper if you want to try this.
Watch it.
Get water. A surprise.
Oh my, look at that.
I know it's a drink.
It's another liquid diet.
No.
Bailey's.
Or take somebody else's gift. You can, it's true.
Is there a rum shot that hasn't been traded?
No, all rum shots.
Oh, I can help them with Bailey's
That way I can drink coffee and I can have fun.
If you wind up keeping it.
I hope so.
What did you
Bailey's. It's cooking.
That's true. Number one gets to come back and
Pick whatever.
pick whatever.
It is a butter. Oh no, it's a chipper. Oh, it's a two-way chipper. Left or right hand, Mark. Okay, see you guys.
It's very long.
Here, Tom.
Thank you.
I did it to him last year. See? Something's gotta.
So Ohio State's ball.
Bailey's.
My gosh, it is.
It's
This is about 7 hours.
irresistible trio of smokestack beers. The trilogy. The trilogy of beers. All right. Gourmet beer.
Hey!
I like all my gifts.
Don't get too used to that. But I'll take this.
I guess I go.
There you go. You knew that.
Lind chocolates.
Let's have a look. Sorry, Mark. Oh, is that your brand? Yep.
Scrick sounds?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
Okay, all right.
Got a golf club?
Yep.
Yeah, for the Yeti.
Look at the wrapping.
Just a second.
Let's go check it out first.
Bordeaux.
Bordeaux?
Bridget?
Pronunciation.
Same country.
Bordeaux.
16.
Jamie.
Oh my God.
Bottle of Pepsi. Not me, I've been traded twice.
He lost his beer and his... You beat my team, so I'm taking your booze.
Empty bag.
Another bottle of beer. Again? All right.